Good morning, Rough Cuts. Adam Stanchek here with my Thursday movie review. Now, I'm sorry that it's not going to have any edits on it. I'm sorry that it's a little bit later than I normally post it. And that is just because I got a lot of stuff going on right now in my life. And blah, 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 blah. You don't care. But anyway, here's my review. This week I'm going to review the TV show Breaking Bad. Now, I just started watching it like a couple months ago, so I had to cram it all together. But the show is amazing. It's on AMC, which is the channel that I can't think of any other shows that I watch. But it's about this guy named Walter White, who is a high school chemistry teacher. And Walter White, just in the first episode, you find out that this dude has cancer, and he's going to die, and he's not going to be able to leave anything for his family, for his wife and his kid, and then his kid who's on the way. He's just going to leave dead. He's a genius chemistry guy. He's like this super good chemist, but he's somehow, just because, the circumstances of life, he's ended up teaching this high school, and he's just kind of like your normal, mild-mannered, average guy. He just seems to be a good, sound, kind of boring, plain guy. But from the circumstances just of the first episode, he has to take like a 360, and he has to face his mortality, and he has to realize that his just kind of average, play-by-the-rules, be a normal guy plan is not going to cut it in his example, like in his instance. So he has to, go outside your normal means and try to figure out a way to make sure that his family is taken care of properly, because his primary motivation as a character is to be a good man and to be a good father and to be a good husband. And so even though his primary motivation is good, he finds out that there's this very lucrative opportunity in the manufacturing of methamphetamines. And this is something that he can do. He's like a genius chemist. So he sees this opportunity, and he realizes that this is his only way, that he's going to be able to pay for treatment for his cancer, and then also make sure that when he's dead, because this is a death sentence on him, and when he's dead, his family's going to be taken care of. So he tries to hook up with an old student of his who he just happens to see is in the meth trade, and the student is named Jesse Pinkman, and he's the other main character of the series. Jesse is just like a loser kid. He looks like he's been out of school for maybe 5 years at the most, but he's just like a loser, screw-up kid who is a drug dealer. And Walt realizes that with this kid, he can sell these drugs that he's going to be making. And because Jesse has experience with meth. It's a great. This show's character based, and it's all the episodes are high tension because you gotta make these huge life changes, and a lot of times on shows you see them play down this kind of like the normal drama of what it would be like to have to be in these situations. But this show's really good at portraying the real, how you'd feel like if this was really happening to you and if you had to make these choices. The show is called Breaking Bad because of a line that I'm pretty sure Jesse says right in the first episode, which is when Walt's saying hey, yeah, I'm gonna have to do this, and he's having a hard time believing that his teacher is gonna want to be a meth dealer, and he's like, you can't just break bad. You can't just one day decide, hi, I'm gonna start being a bad person. And that line, I feel like, is almost like the thesis statement of the entire show, because Walt thinks, I'm gonna do this for only 6 months, and I'm gonna, in that amount of time, I'm gonna be able to save up enough money to pay for the rest of the house mortgage and the bills, and to make sure my kids have a college fund. I'm gonna be able to make sure I have a nest egg to leave for my family, because I failed to do that. But it shows how that you can't just make these decisions and have them not affect you, and not have them not. You can't just go and do this for a little while and then come out the same man. And that's what he meant by breaking bad. Once you break through this barrier of doing the wrong thing, once you compromise your morals, it's really hard to get back in line with them. And it's great to see the way how the first time that Walt and Jesse have to deal with the death of somebody, and how they're responsible for the death of somebody, how this is a huge ordeal. I mean, they have to cope with hey, this person is going to have to die, and we have to make that decision, and it's up to us. And you know, and that's something that, like, normally never anybody would say, like, I'm going to have to kill this person. But in this show, they have to deal with that. And then it's kind of amazing to see that over the course of the 4 seasons that have been aired on the show, how they have come to cope with, hey, some people they have to kill, and how that doesn't affect them anymore. And also how, like, they used to have a lot of, I mean, there was a lot of moral struggles with Walt, with, like, what he was doing, was selling the drugs and stuff. And it's really interesting to see how things have, like, just kind of come on, they, like, roll, like, what, I know I'm not editing, and now I'm going to be babbling like an idiot, but how things, I normally would cut that part out, but, you know, can't do it today. But, like, you know the game Katamari, where, like, not everybody on this channel plays video games, where just things get out of hand, and they pile up, and suddenly, like, you've become a monster, and you didn't even realize it. You're doing all these bad things, but for the right reason, and then you realize that the reason you're doing them doesn't matter anymore, because you've become a bad person. The last episode of season 4 just aired on, whatever, I don't even know what day of the week, it's Thursday, I'm doing my movie review, but I think it was on Monday, and it was a great end to season 4, and I'm not going to have any spoilers, because that's not how I roll, but the show knew it was only going to have 5 seasons, and this show really feels like it's had it planned out. It's not like one of those, from episode to episode, they have to kind of make up things to make it work. It's like everything is really, it seems like it's taken the perfect amount of time to tell the character development and the different arcs of these people that was needed. I'm excited for it to be over, and I'm really excited to see how every episode in the next season should be very precise. I have a feeling where it's going, and I think everybody kind of does, because you can tell from the episode 1 that this is not a superhero story about this super chemist who becomes a mastermind criminal. It's the story of a decent man who becomes a monster. And even though the whole time you're rooting for Walt because he is our protagonist, it's like he's over time he's becoming a really bad person, and he's gonna have to face that. It's just a really great story. If you get the time to start watching it, you'll see how the shows are very interesting, and the characters are just great. Like, the Walt is played by Bryan Cranston, who's the dude who was the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, but you don't see that guy. It's like he's able to act himself into a completely different persona by shaving his head and by putting glasses on, and it's just amazing. It's just really great. Like, you really feel for Walt, and then you also really, it's like you want to reach out and shake him and tell him, like, hey, do you see what you're becoming? Even though he wouldn't listen to you. So that's Breaking Bad. This was a long review, no edits, and I will see you guys next Thursday.